Welcome, friends. I am Jon Friedberg, and thank you for tuning in to Under the Gun. What can I say? It's the main event. The World Series has absolutely flown by, and I think 56 events have already passed, but like what most people will be talking about, the 57th is really, at the end of the day, the only one that really counts. Maybe not necessarily, because there were some absolutely remarkable stories this year with Gavin Smith and Chris Bell winning their first bracelets back-to-back. Phil Ivey, of course, won his 8th bracelet. One of my softball teammates, Frank, won 2 bracelets. He was the only 2-bracelet winner so far. So congrats to Chris and Gavin and Frank and, of course, Phil and everyone else that did well this year. I have not had my success yet, but I have yet to really go very deep in the main event, and I have been doing everything in my power to prepare for a stellar performance, and I can't wait. I play tomorrow, which is in day 1B, and today I'm just having a nice relaxing day, and why not hang out with a couple of beautiful girls, one of whom is a porn star. Today my guest will be Tiffany Michelle, who we all know. She is a Team UB pro. She was on The Amazing Race as a contestant along with Maria Ho, and of course in the 2008, I believe it was the 2008 World Series, had a very deep run where she finished, top 20. I think she finished 20th. In any case, I'm going to have Tiffany on to talk to her friend and porn star Samantha Ryan, and they're probably going to have some very interesting things to say. I certainly have some interesting questions, and I'm excited to sit down with them. But first, let me give an update on my Under the Gun challenge. So one of my Under the Gun challenges is officially over, and although I didn't have the exact success that I was looking for, I guess I certainly can't complain with it because I did win overall. Now, I set out to win a World Series main event package on UB because of the great promotion that they are having, but I kind of waited until it got a little too late, and when I was going crazy in the step tournaments all this last week, I won 2 seats into the step 10, which is the final step where the winner gets a 12K package, and second place gets some money as well, but obviously we only had our eye on the first place prize. So I went 2 seats into the step 10, never saw a step 10 going, and then finally yesterday when I was looking at it, I noticed that the step 10s weren't even for the World Series anymore. I totally missed the boat on that. So in total I invested about $640 on all of my attempts at satelliting into the main event, from step tournaments and from the megas that they were running on UB. And the total value of my 2 step 10 seats is about $4,500. So I did win almost $4,000 in my attempt. However, like I said, I did not win the seat into the main event. So I will be buying in cash and continuing to play the steps on UB for seats into other events. Right now they are running Step 10 tournaments for 2 different events, the World Series of Poker Europe and the Legends of Poker at the Bicycle Club in this August, which is a WPT event. So I will use these tickets, the Step 10 tickets, to win something into those, and hopefully I will have success doing that. As for my cash game challenge of winning $100,000, again, I have not played any of live poker, any cash games this month, but as soon as the main event is over, I will plant my ass at my desk and I will start grinding because I have a lot of work to do to make that challenge a reality. So without further ado, let me introduce my 2 guests for the show today, Miss Tiffany Michelle and Miss Porn Star Samantha Ryan. So Tiffany Michelle and Samantha Ryan, thank you lovely ladies for coming on my show today. It's nice to have you here.
Absolutely. It's nice to be had, Jon Friedberg.
So first of all, how have you 2 become friends? Like, how did this friendship, whatever relationship come about?
You tell the story.
Well,
whatever you want them to know.
rumor had it back in the day I went
Allegedly.
out. Allegedly, I dated Hollywood Dan for a short time. I mean, Hollywood Dave. And actually, she was through his circle a friend of his, so I got to, I think the first time Sam and I met was at a Dodger game. And I just met through that circle of people, and allegedly, when Hollywood Dave and I were not together anymore, I kept this one. I got her in the divorce, as I like to say.
Yeah.
So that's a story of us. And we both live in LA. I love her. She's a talented, gorgeous, smart girl. It's kind of hard for me, especially being in such a male-dominated industry, to meet girls that are like cool and legit, and they're not drama. And she is, and I love her. So that's our story.
Okay. So
we're getting married in a couple weeks. It's very
Nice.
exciting. It's
Awesome.
awesome.
I know, we already thought we were a couple.
Oh, yeah, a friend of mine, literally, who came over for Thanksgiving last year, I just bumped into him, and I introduced most of my girlfriends as like, oh, this is my girlfriend. And so I was like, oh, this is my girlfriend, Samantha Ryan. He's like, okay. And as we go walking away, he's like, so are you not with that Asian girl anymore? And I was like, what? He's like, you know, the one you did the Amazing Race with. Is this a new girl? And I'm like, surely you're joking, right? He wasn't joking. But I mean, I'm proud that he thought I could bag this one. That'd be a feat.
There you go.
it's a nice compliment. So Samantha, you were saying that you've been playing poker kind of recreationally for 7 years or so?
Yeah, I started playing about 7 years ago when I was in real estate, and played online, you know, before I was playing on the money sites. Was just kind of playing on free sites online. But yeah, about 4 years ago, I started playing online, and I've had mixed results. You know, I've made some final tables and whatnot, but I've just always seemed to run pretty bad with my cards. But hoping that eventually the numbers will finally come around my way. So.
Right. So I often compare business to poker, and it seems like it's real easy to find a comparison between a person's career and poker. But I have to say, I can't think of any ways to compare your career in pornography with poker.
Yeah.
With poker? Really? I mean, poker?
aside from the word itself,
Poker.
can you, liquor in the front, poker
Yeah.
in the rear, right?
Exactly.
Oh my God!
Can you think of any ways that, like, your experience in the porn industry might be advantageous or beneficial to you playing poker?
Well, you know, I think with anything, I mean, the biggest thing is that people underestimate me. You know, of course, I have to have the math come around in my way, you know, for them to, you know, for me to actually make hands and you know, have it turn out my way. But at the same time, you know, they never really know where I'm coming from. They underestimate me. They want to obviously assume very heavily because of my job that I'm an idiot. So I can kind of play that to my advantage. I'm not a blonde anymore, but I can kind of play the part, right?
So let me ask you this, and this is kind of off topic, well, on topic, I guess, in porn. Just my own personal question, being somewhat of a business person. How has I mean, it seems like the whole proliferation of like amateur stuff or I should say accessibility to the masses via the internet, how has that affected the porn industry? And is that a threat to like known stars such as yourself? Or not
yes
necessarily?
and no. I mean, I think luckily for me, I kind of got in at a time, it was kind of, you know, right before things really started to change in the industry. So I kind of made a little bit of a name for myself, you know, before things really started to change. Newer girls are having a much harder time these days, you know, breaking in. You know, as far as all these different sites out there, you know, a lot of it's just piracy. You know, they're stealing content, and you know, that's really the biggest thing, not only in mainstream, but you know, things that go on in adult. People don't really know, like, adult is usually on the forefront of new media and, you know, introducing new things. At the same time, we're kind of the ones that are also first affected by things like piracy and whatnot. So, you know, the mainstream industry is going through it as well, with movies getting pirated, and we're kind of dealing with the same thing. And it's definitely, you know, between that and the economy dumping at the same time, the industry is definitely slowed. I mean, there's been lots of big companies that have totally shut their doors. So, but at the same time, you know, there's always a need for new porn. That's the one thing that's good about my industry is there's people get bored. They always want new stuff. So there's always going to be a need for it. The girls that have kind of made their name, you know, made their name already.
Is it new people they want? New positions? I mean, there's only so much it seems like you can do. What is it when you say they want new porn? I mean...
You know, everybody has their fetish, everybody has their thing that they like, and, you know, they have different girls that they like. You know, there's just so many people that can be paired together doing certain things, you know, this, that, or the other, in this place. You know, it's like people literally like, I want to see him having sex in this place, or I want to see this scenario. It's like there's just so many people are so individual when it comes to their porn tastes, that there's just always a need for, you know, and a lot of people do, you know, a lot of companies do like custom videos that literally customers will order and pay for a whole like setup, so they can get exactly what they want. So.
And that sounds similar to what we were talking about before the camera started rolling, with having like webcam stuff. Mm-hmm. You said that you were working on your own site. That.
Yeah, trying to get my webcam site going.
And what's the name of that site?
It's SamanthaRyanLive.com. Pretty easy and exactly what it means and says. Yeah, trying to get that going. I've been kind of camming on some other sites, you know, and that's definitely kind of a new wave in the industry because of piracy. It's like, well, you can't, you know, mimic lie. You can't, you know.
And then people sit there and, like, you can have conversations with people. Like, she tells me about this stuff because I'm so forward to it. So where she's like, yeah, I can sit there and have a conversation, and the person can be like, oh, do this. So it's, like, interactive. Yeah. Essentially.
And how does it work? Do people pay by the minute, or is it a monthly membership? Or
on my site, it's going to be probably a combination of both, so that people can have a monthly membership so they get, you know, everything. But then if people just want to come on and just see the webcam, that they'll be able to, and that's kind of what we're working out now, so I can get my site launched. So people can just come on and buy minutes at a time. But yeah, they pretty much just pay per minute, and you know, in the beginning do it's like a free show basically, and then people will bring you in like a private chat, and that's when you start making the big bucks per minute. So yeah, it's fun. I was doing a whole cooking show last week. I've done like a whole piano thing. I was like literally writing music because I'm like
well, you're new.
Waiting here. You know, I was going sitting here so lonely, like just like making up, like playing my piano, like making music for them.
Crazy.
Sounds fun. Yeah. So Tiffany, when you guys are out, I assume you guys, you know, have fun, or you girls, should I say? You guys have fun. You girls have fun. When you're out and about in LA, I mean, what's it like? Do people just automatically, I assume you get quite recognized, and do people assume, Tiffany, that you're in the industry as well?
This is the funny thing. It's different, you know, because obviously I have a lot of friends that are, you know, actors in the industry and that have some amount of fame and people recognize them and come up and ask for autographs. With her and her industry, it's weird because we'll be somewhere and you'll see guys go like, and not say anything, but you see this recognition in their face to where they're sitting there whispering, looking, but it's not the kind of thing that somebody on that side's comfortable with, you know, with me or when my friends will come up and be like, oh, I liked you on that show, good job. But you can tell when the people are like, especially if they're with, you know, girlfriends or wives or family, it's not the kind of thing you could come up and say. So it's always funny being with her. You're like a little sniper looking out for the people that actually it clicks in their head and they know who she is.
A lot of times it's just, you can just tell. It'd be like, you know, I've said it all the time. It's like I'll turn to somebody and like usually I'll start hiding because I'm kind of shy at that point. But yeah, when I feel and I can tell by somebody's stares that they recognize me, I'm usually like,
Yeah, I think if I was out to dinner with my girlfriend and she was like, oh my God, there's Ron Jeremy, I might be a little bit, you know.
Although he's like,
I know he's kind of gross or whatever.
Pretty well known across the board for men
that's
and women.
True.
I don't think anybody ever associates, you know, me with that. Although the funny thing that I do get, because I think most people know who and what I do, and they know we're friends and that we've kind of been brought through and we play poker together. But the interesting thing is when I mention like, oh yeah, or if I'm going to do an event and I invite her along and give her, you know, name to somebody like, oh yeah, my friend, you know, Samantha Ryan, she's a porn star, would like to come. People are always like, you have a friend who's a porn star? And I was raised in an incredibly conservative home, and so it's interesting that people have this assumption and a stereotype for people that are in her kind of industry. Yet when they meet her, everybody can hands down say, like Annie Duke was saying the other day, since she's been coming on to play for UB at the series, she was saying she's one of the nicest, smartest girls you'll meet. So there's a stereotype that then once people hang out, they're cool with it. But it's interesting that there's like, oh, you have a friend who's in that business, but then you have to meet that person to you know, judge each person according to who they are, not what you think about them.
You know, it used to be in the poker world back in the day that poker players were almost frowned upon. Like, you know, if I were to be, I mean, not me in particular, but as an example, if I were to be, going to a party that my mom was throwing, she'd be like, "Oh, this is my son. He's a poker player."
Yeah.
Right.
But now after the boom, she's like, she loves to introduce me as a poker player. Everyone wants to run up and ask me questions about, what it's like to be on TV or whatever.
That's one of the interesting things with that, is exactly that, is some of the people that have kind of judged me in the poker community. It's like, well, first of all, you don't even know me. Second of all, you were at least at one point probably looked down upon for choosing poker. So, why judge me when it's like
Get it.
Can't you understand that? Like, don't you have some kind of understanding of that, and as a poker player, and relate to that? And instead of jumping on me, it's like, hey, wait a second, are you just gonna be a hypocrite? Like,
Right.
It's kind of been done to you. So if you don't want people to judge you, then maybe not try to just judge others. Maybe meet them first.
Well, I have two specific questions that I want to ask you. And I think a lot of men are curious to know this. I'll save the better question for last, but my first question is, how does compensation work in the industry? I mean, how many movies does a porn star have to do to make a good living, and are you paid by the hour? Are you paid by the task?
You're basically paid per scene. So every sexual act, I'll get paid separately for dialogue, just like any actor, but for the specific acts. And then basically, it kind of goes like, from solo work would be, the cheapest work, and then it just basically adds on from there. Then doing softcore girl is a little bit more money. And then you get into your hardcore girl is a little bit more money. And then you get into your boy girl is more money. And then you get into your boy girl anal, and then your DPs and all the other fun interracials and
BYOB, BMW,
The DP, the
FYIs.
I know, everything is a whole
VIP.
So what about these girls that do like the 100-man gangbangs, or maybe they don't do 100-man, but
stuff
I mean, you hear of stuff like that where
I think there was a girl that did like an 80%, I don't know.
do they get paid a lot? I mean, is that
that
sounds like it's
you hope
physically
so.
unhealthy.
I mean, God, I think I would put it I don't think I would do it for any amount of money, me personally, but I hope they got paid well. I mean, that's kind of one of the unfortunate things is sometimes girls, they just go, at it gung-ho, and, people try to take advantage of them, and they don't really know, and they're naive about it, so I hope they make good money, but yeah, I usually do those kind of things. I mean, even just when I made my return to boy-girl, that was just, a big deal. I, got more money up front for those scenes, so.
Okay. Now, is it true that on the set of any porn, set, like when you're filming, that there are fluffers there, what they call?
No.
Which are basically like women that are just blowing men to...
it's just a myth.
That's really a myth?
It's just a myth.
I think that's just as much of a myth as like this image of like seedy poker players in the back, like this image that most people have that don't know poker today of like, in the back of a saloon, gamblers and smoke and guns and hookers. I think that's kind of like the similar image.
Mom, if you're watching this, I did some research online before I came here, and that's how I learned about fluffer. Okay, and my last specific question about porn is, when you do it for a living, is it still, something that you enjoy to do, at your own free will, when you're not on the clock?
Yeah, I actually enjoy it way more because sex on camera is totally different. And a lot of times you are in such crazy positions on a hard-ass table.
With these hot lights probably
around. Yeah, exactly. There's so many elements you have to think about. Staying open to camera, like arching my back, like am I sounding like not like a freak? Like there's just so many things that are going on that, with certain guys, that I actually kind of, like have a crush on or whatever, think are cute, like. It's more
work
fun.
Or in
work.
Okay.
There's like a few guys that, like there's one guy who's a great kisser, or one guy's like, just sexy, whatever, so it's more fun with them. But it is what it is. It's really a job. And, but what I love about it is that, because it is my job, I'm pretty good at it. And, so yeah, I can,
This is a funny thing. She, friends that meet her, girls specifically, will always be like, hey, can you give me tips, or can you talk to, she becomes this, sex doctor to then with friends be like, oh, yeah, I can help you with that problem. How do I do this? Oh, now you just need to take, she's now giving this information from her job and educating the world.
Well, no, it's, it's one thing, too, about my industry is everybody thinks, we're just dirty. It's like, what, I get tested every single month. I know my status every month. Do you? Do you? No, most people in the mainstream don't get tested every month, and they don't, know their bodies as well as I do. Any guy will tell you, I'm much better than most girls out there, and I think that it's just education. It's learning about it, not just being so judgmental. And when you learn about it, you're like, oh yeah, maybe I am actually cleaner than most people. It's really just, in my opinion, it's totally the opposite. So.
Okay. Well, we're just about out of time here, but before we go, Tiffany, I want to ask you, so you were a poker reporter, right? Mm-hmm. And then you had a deep run in the main event, and then sort of, flip sides with the camera, so to speak. Then you were on The Amazing Race as like a huge reality star, or, I guess that's a pretty popular show. What's next for you?
I think in order to top what I've done each year, I need to run for Miss America, probably, right? Because that would be like, with that one-up, Amazing Race, is Miss America one-up from Amazing Race, something like that. There's always something. I'm enjoying playing poker. I launched a clothing line last year, Tiffany Michelle by Black Ace, which is available on my website.
Which is?
TiffanyMichelle.com. And actually I have, I'm bouncing always in between poker and then film and television and music and all the performing type stuff that I do. And so there's a few projects in the works that may be coming about in the near future in regards to TV stuff. I'm always taking meetings and development for stuff like that. So, and maybe I'm in the process of writing a book as well. So I kind of just like to do everything, and one thing or another seems to take off somewhere. So just trucking on, doing what I do.
And you, Samantha, is there anything that you want to mention before we head out?
Just again, my website, SamanthaRyanLive.com. Like I said, we're working out some issues and getting ready to kind of relaunch it, actually. And so check it out soon.
And you can find us both on Twitter. I'm Tiffany Michelle without the A, so Tiffny Michelle.
And I'm at Sammy Rai, SAMMYRYRY.
We have some fun tweets, and we post a lot of pictures, so you get to get the inside scoop on our lives. Check it out.
There's some hot ones lately.
And come play with us on UB.
Of course, that goes
that's
without
where
saying.
We play. Yay! What you're Sam Ryan 69?
Mm-hmm.
Shocking.
Sam Ryan 69.
All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on the show. It was a pleasure to have you both. And perhaps I will see you soon somewhere at a poker tournament or something.
Absolutely good.
Thank you so much for tuning in to this very unique episode of Under the Gun. My goal here is to inspire you all by way of crazy content that you won't find anywhere else in the poker world. I'm not here to talk strategy, although, of course, strategy is an important aspect of the poker world, and I certainly will be doing a lot of strategy talk in upcoming episodes, but I like to provide different insights into different perspectives and different lifestyles of different people, not only in poker. So hopefully today was a perfect example of that, and hopefully you all enjoyed watching that interview as much as I enjoyed hosting it. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I'm at Jon Friedberg, and of course you can follow this show as well at Under the Gun TV. And wish me some luck in the main event. Like I said, I play day 1B tomorrow, and then I hope to have a deep run, and would certainly appreciate any good vibes that you all have to send along the way. Everything helps, right? So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you guys next week.